you got a message on your screen, you can just click on got it. We're just recording this so you have this accessible later on. Okay, hi everyone. It's great to see all of you today. For some of you, we haven't seen you in about a month now as we're offering these monthly classes. But we have a great lesson planned for you today. This goes into my top 5 lessons that we have created. So I hope this is something that you could also you'll also enjoy and benefit from. It's called Tech in the Workforce. You'll kind of get a feel of what that means as we start teaching. Before we get started, let me just go over a few things that I think is important to mention. Joe, you can go to the next slide. Go next. Okay, as always, let me just restate our mission, which is it is the responsibility of the younger generation to educate seniors about technology. The goal of our program is to cure the issue of social isolation within senior communities and help seniors feel connected with our new world of technology. Our personalized classes strive to educate seniors on how to communicate with friends and family in the manner in which the world is accustomed to today, and how to use technological tools to enhance and simplify their daily lives. For those of you who, I think there are a few of you that this is your first class joining us ever, I want to make it clear that we've been doing this for many years now, and this has always been our mission and our goal, and we are happy to say that we are achieving it. Joe, you can go to the next slide. Only over the past few years, we've educated over 2,000 seniors in 10 different countries, and we've taught over 200 classes, numbers that we are very, very proud of, and we hope we can continue offering these classes and programs for you, especially at a free price. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So what's going to be happening this slide I will put up at the end of the class today so that you could have this. This just basically has some lists of contacts for us, social media platforms, our YouTube channel with recordings, our website, our platform if you want to enroll in a full class with us, and then our contact lists, which are either via WhatsApp or email. I know some of you want this information, so I'll make sure, I promise, to put this on the screen at the end of the class today so that you could take a picture or write this information down so that you have it. So don't worry if you're trying to write this down fast. I'll make sure to put this up at the end of the class today so that you have it. Okay. So what's going to be happening today? We're going to cover 3 main topics today, all of which are very relevant, not only in the workforce, but I think are also relevant to everyone. This is, I like to call it a very practical lesson, because almost all the topics that we will cover today are pretty useful to almost everyone. The first thing is called organizational tips. Now, this will cover tons of things. Many people have what's called a messy desktop, which are files unorganized all around their computer screen, and it's pretty difficult to find certain things. So we're going to basically solve that problem for you today and show you how you could organize your files in a cleaner, nicer format, and also how to find old files that maybe you've lost over time. The next thing is business email tricks, which is we're going to cover 4 cool things you could do on email that are beyond the basics of sending and forwarding and responding. All those basics, we're assuming that you have some sort of background with, and we're going to go to that next level, which is a few additional tips that you could do while using email. And then finally, the Google Workspace, which is something I'm actually sure many of you haven't heard of or haven't used before, but it is a very user-friendly environment for you to be able to collaborate with friends and family and peers on the internet and work on the same documents and files simultaneously. It is a very, very useful tool, and I'm excited to show it to you today. All right, so let's get started with this first thing, organizational tips. I'll read what it says here just to give you some background. Understanding how to work with files and folders is an important part of using your computer. Once you understand how files and folders work, you'll use them all the time. In this lesson, we'll show you the absolute basics of working with files, including how to open files, move your files into folders, and delete files. So that just kind of gives you an overall sense of what we will show you today. And let me just introduce the concept of files. Joe, you can go to the next slide. I will try in today's lesson to be aware that some of you do have Mac computers, which are computers made by Apple, while some of you have Windows computers or PC computers, and you'll occasionally see a split screen where you'll see them on both sides, and you'll see it labeled at the bottom of the screen. So just make sure that you are kind of focusing or paying attention to the side that applies to you. This is what what's called a desktop will typically look like, which is you'll have different file types on that desktop that all look slightly different. If we're looking at the Windows side, which is that blue box, you'll see at the top left, we have the recycle bin. And this is what I'm going to call an application. This is, or shortened, some people call it an app. This is basically a shortcut to open up some sort of program. So the recycle bin is an example of an application. Internet, Microsoft Word. There are tons and tons of applications on an Apple computer. You'll see them listed at the bottom of your screen, all the little icons. Those are the applications. On a Windows computer, you'll see them there as well. Sometimes you'll see them like the recycle bin actually on the desktop itself. But that's one file type, which is an application used to open up a program. Below that, we have a Word document. This is a document file type. And it is titled cover letter, but this is what that file type will look like. Next to that, we have a picture. Next to that, we have an audio file. You see, you know it is because it has a little musical note to give you kind of that hint. And then all the way on the right, we have a video, which has, if you look closely, those like black boxes on the left and right indicating that it is a video. So these are the most common file types. We have an application, a document, a photo, a video, and a video. These are the most common file types. And if we turn our attention to the right side of the screen, you'll see it's very similar. We have a document, we have an image, we have an audio file, and a video file. Now on Apple computers, it does indicate what file type it is in the actual text. You'll see how it says dot and then docs, or dot JPEG, or dot MP3, or dot MP4. These are the domains for these type of file type. So DUCX is what you'll see at the end of every Word document, because that is what they affiliate with Word documents. JPEG is an image file type, MP3 is an audio, and then MP4 is a video file type. On Windows, you will not see those 3 or 4 letters after each file. You'll just, based on, you should be able to tell which file type it is. So that is just the gist of what the different file types are. Now, although you might think this desktop looks relatively nice and it's easy to maneuver the different files, what about a week from now or in a month from now, when you double the amount of files or when you triple the amount of files and you end up with 1,000 files? How do you manage all these documents and files of all these different file types? And Joe, you can go to the next slide. This looks a little bit nicer. And this is what we like to call folders. Very similar to a folder you would have in real life, where you would buy a folder at Staples and you could put your files in it, and one folder be for work from this month, and one folder with work from this month, and you could sort your files physically into folders. The same thing occurs online. You'll see that I have 3 folders here in the blue: photos, recipes, and work. And I've sorted my files into these categories so that when I want to find a file, it is very easy for me to locate a folder and open that file. So you'll see that you could combine file types, meaning in photos, it would make sense for me to have all photo file types, but you could drag whatever you want into each folder. Into recipes, I might have some Word documents of recipes. I might have some videos of people making recipes. I might have some pictures of awesome food that I love making. And this makes it easy because when you go on your computer intentionally looking for a recipe, as opposed to going through your thousands of files, you now know, let me open up my recipes folder, because that is going back in time. That makes the most sense for where I would have put that file. And the same thing applies on Apple computers, where you'll see how we've created files to organize, we've created folders to organize the files. And we are going to show you today how to create, how to rename, and how to manage those folders. This is just the broad introduction to what exactly folders are and obviously what their purpose is. All right, Joe, you can go to the next slide. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Julia now, who's going to explain some additional things you could do with files and folders, and how you could use them to really make your life on the computer a bit easier.
Hi guys, so you could see that there are two pictures on the screen here. The one on the left is a picture of a Windows computer, and the one on the right is from a Mac computer, an Apple computer. So both of these are showing you the ways to get an additional drop-down menu when you right-click on your computer mouse. So for a Windows computer, to get this extra menu, you're going to right-click on the right side of your computer, and this little menu bar will appear. On a Mac computer, you're going to use two fingers and tap down on your mouse, and then a similar drop-down menu will appear. And you can see that there's a bunch of different options here of things that you can do. I'm just going to point out three main ones that will help you organize your desktop and share files. So you can see that right here, we boxed on both the Windows side and on the Mac side. This little, you can see on the left side, it has a send to button, and on the right side, it says share. Both of these will do the same thing. If you click on them, it'll allow you to share whatever file or document that you've right-clicked on another person. So whether that's through email or text message, you have the option to share that file. The next thing that you could do on this menu bar is you can rename files. So you could see that you can rename files. So you could see that there's a rename button on both sides. And if you were to click on that, it gives you the option to change the name of this file. Sometimes it automatically that's super long, or you want to rename it to something else, you're able to do that by right-clicking and clicking on that button. And then you could also see that there's a copy button. So if you want to copy this file to then share with someone else or put into another document, you're able to do that by pressing that copy button. It will then copy whatever file or document you've right-clicked on. And then the next thing I'm going to show you, Joe, if we could go to the next slide, is how to find different files. So a lot of times people have difficulty locating a file within their computer. So these are 6 different places that files are often found within your computer. So the first thing that you could do, this is specific to a Mac and Apple computer, is on the top of your screen, there's a little Apple icon. If you click on that icon, there will be a button that says recent items. And when you click on recent items, you could see that there's a drop-down menu of all of the different apps and different documents that you viewed. So if you know that you've seen something recently and you want to just go back to that, but you lost it and you can't locate it for some reason, you can click on that recent items button, and it will show you a drop-down of all of the recent apps and documents that you've looked at. Another folder that you can look at is downloads. This is like a folder that your computer will automatically make for you. So if you download a picture from the internet or a file, it will automatically go into this downloads folder. So you can open that up and you should be able to find any of those documents or pictures that you've downloaded. You can also look in your trash. So sometimes people will accidentally delete documents, but they still want them. So you have up to 30 days to recover something from your trash bin on your computer. After that, it will be automatically deleted. So just be careful of the things that you put in there and that you're not going to want them again. But you do have that option to take them out of the trash bin if it's been less than 30 days. You can also check for documents in your folders. So if you make preset folders like we just showed you, you can then access all of your documents that are stored in there. You can also find documents and files on your desktop. So most of your folders will be on your desktop. You could, when you open your computer, you'll see a bunch of different files. And if you click on any of those, that would open them. And then the last is the documents folder. So if you open that up, you should find a bunch of the different files and pictures that you're looking for.
Thank you, Julia. I hope that gave you the gist of how to find files using different folders and different categories. There is one more way that you could use to find files. This could typically maybe be the easiest way, just because it's very quick and it's right on your desktop, and that's called searching for files. And I'm going to pass it over to Sophia to explain how this works.
Yeah, hello everyone. The different types or parts in your computer that your files could be that Julia just covered can all sort of be short. You can take a shortcut to find it, and that is through the search bar. Once again, on the left side for a Windows computer, you would locate the magnifying glass in the bottom right corner, circled in red. And then from here, it will typically prompt a search bar with where you can type any keyword related to your file you're looking for. So in this case, we can see the example is searching the word carrot to maybe find a carrot cake or any file in the computer with that in the name. That also sort of harps on the importance of naming your files correctly and just specific enough to where in the future where maybe you are using the search bar, you can use it to your advantage to look for more specific keywords with that file. Over on the right-hand side, we see the equivalent for a Mac or an Apple computer. And in this instance, the magnifying glass for the search bar is located in the top right corner. And once you click on that, you're prompted with the search bar. And in this case, they typed surf just to find a file that maybe they know had that in the name. And then from there, it shortcuts you having to maybe look in your downloads folder or your trash bin or maybe your desktop. The search bar is very nice in that it shortcuts all of that and you can get directly to a file through searching the name. Moving on to the next slide, we can see that this is concerning the library or the finder of your computer, which essentially is like the brain of your computer. It houses all of your files, all of your folders, everything that you have stored on your computer is located in your library or finder. On the left-hand side for Windows, you can see that the library houses downloads, pictures, photos. Any file that you would need is located in the library. And from here, you can create new folders. So maybe the recipes folder we can see on the library screenshot, that could help you to organize, that could help you to store things in a way that you like best. On the right-hand side, the Mac or Apple equivalent is called Finder instead of Library. And this is located on your home screen where you see the little blue face that's in a square. And once you click on this, you're prompted with the same thing. From here, you can find manually any of your documents or pictures or folders, anything that is stored on your computer is either in your library or your finder, depending on your computer. So like I said, it's the brain of your computer. It houses everything that you've ever saved onto this. And that is also the beauty of the search bar, is that you can essentially shortcut having to manually find anything if you know what you're looking for.
Great,
and moving on to the next slide, we can see Caroline. Yes, thank you.
So that basically covered that first segment, which is you have a file on your computer, you know it's there, and you want to find it. How do I get to it? And you now are presented with many different ways. Your computer is basically like, a stack of 500 files, and it's really up to you to make sure that those files are kept in an organized fashion, especially when you get to the point where you have so many files that it's very chaotic of where things are. I even recommend if you are one of those people that is not too organized, take a day, go through your computer and use what we showed you today to kind of organize your desktop and your files to make them easier to find. Trust me, it makes things go a lot easier, a lot faster, and just using your computer is elevated tremendously. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about folders. How do you create folders and how do you manage folders? Caroline's going to show you how to do that on Windows and Mac computers.
Okay, hi guys. So the screen you're looking at right now is for a Windows computer. So to create a folder on a Windows computer, what you want to do is you want to look for that yellow folder icon, which is in the top left corner of your screen. You see the mouse here is on it, and it should say new folder when your mouse goes on it. If you click on that, it should bring you to the slide you see right here that we're looking at. And then once you see these, a bunch of these different things, there are different folders you could create: a photo folder, recipe folder, or work folder. These are different ways to organize your folders. So if Joe goes to the next slide, once you click on that yellow button, which is just the folder icon in the top left corner of the screen, it'll take you to create a new folder. And this way you could label your folder to fit in with what you want to add into that folder. So right now on this desktop, we have photos, we have recipes, we have work, and now this person wants to add his school documents. So this is just a way to organize your computer in a neat fashion. And then there are, wait, if you could go back, Joe. Okay, yeah. So as you see on the side here, it says the documents button is highlighted in gray. So that means that these folders that this person just created are going to go into the documents section of his computer. But if you want the folders to go straight onto your desktop or into your downloads, you could click on those, and then those words will highlight in gray and the folders will appear in those sections. So this is just a different way where you can choose exactly where you want your folders to go on your computer. And then it'll be easier to find them. Okay, so that's how you do it for Windows. And now I'll show you for Apple. So for an Apple computer, what you want to do is on the top of your computer screen towards the left, there should be a file section on the top of your computer. And if you click on that, it'll bring you to this like list, and you want to click on new folder. So file and then new folder. And then once you click on new folder, it should bring you to this section, which is pretty much the same as I showed you on the Windows, except these documents are in blue. But just like I showed you for the Windows, this person has his computer, he has his work documents, he has his personal documents, and now he wants to make finance documents. So he wants these in the documents section of his computer. But again, like I showed you before, if you want, you could click on the downloads or on the desktop, and that folder will appear within those sections. And also you could, of course, name these folders to whatever you want to fit your documents. And yeah.
How do you delete the folder?
So to delete the folder, you would want to right click.
Joe, you can stop sharing and open up
Yeah.
under so we can see. I would also point out that you need to, like for some of you right now who are in Zoom, you will not see, if you go to the top of your screen, the word file, because that doesn't apply to the Zoom application. Once you're on your desktop, then you'll see the file button and the new folder button. So exactly what Caroline said, but make sure that you are not inside a separate program where the file button, if it is there, might do different things than what you want to do. So make sure that you're on your desktop when you want to create a new folder.
Yes, so right now, because my Zoom is opened up on my computer, it only shows the Apple button and then Zoom. But if I were to exit Zoom, the file button would appear and then I could create my new folder.
All right, so someone asked about deleting a folder. So Joe has a folder here. It says Mittler Senior Tech. It's a folder. It's clearly in his desktop. And if he right clicks on that folder, which means he clicks on the right side of his mouse or trackpad, you'll see the third button, Move to Trash, which will allow you to move the folder into your recycle bin or to your trash. And this will be and this will remain there for some time, giving you a chance to recover it if needed. The same thing applies if you want to delete a file, right click and click on Move to Trash. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And now we're going to show you how to select files, which basically goes along the same route. If you want to, after creating a folder, right? I just created my brand new finance folder and I want to drag all my finance files into this folder, but I have 300 of them. And I don't want to go through each thing and click on each individual and drag it. That is going to take a long time. So the question that we're going to pose to you now is, once you've created the folders, meaning you've gone the first step, how do you select files to then be dragged into that folder? And there are a few different ways depending on the setup on how you want to move those files. So Joe's going to explain how to do that now on both Apple and Windows.
Okay, so on Apple, the first option to select files when they're in a grid view is you can click and drag until you select all the files. If you let go of your mouse in the while you're in the middle of one of the files, then it's not going to select all of them you want. You have to click and drag and hold your mouse until you select all of them. The next way to do it is to hold down the command button. This is on a Mac. If you hold down command, you can click on specific files that you want to select. The next option is to hold down the shift. Now, shift is a little different than command. If you're using the shift key, then you're going to be selecting the first and last files, and then everything in between those files will also be selected. And then the last thing is to click Command A, and Command A will just select all of your files within that folder that you selected right now. On a Windows, this is similar. Once you click on a folder, the first option when you see this grid view is to click and drag and hold your mouse until you select all the files. The second option is Control. If you hold down Control, you can click on specific files within the folder that's selected. The third option is the same Shift option that you have on a Mac, where you're going to select the first and last documents within that folder that you want selected. And then the last option is, again, Control A, and that will select every single file in this folder.
Great. Great. I would also just point out that overall, when you're dealing with Apple and PC computers, Command and Control seem to be what changes the most. So Command, that button, it's actually directly to the left of your space bar, and it's also to the right. I would say most of the time you use the one on the left. That's for Apple computers. You'll see that on the left if you use an Apple computer, and on a PC or on a Windows computer, you're looking for the Control button. Usually the shortcuts that you would use, like we're showing you today, are the same, except that command for Apple is subbed out with the Control for the PC computers. So what Joe just explained, those 4 different ways, are different ways to select multiple files. Sometimes you want to select all the files in a folder and you'll do Command or Control A. Sometimes you want to select a list of 1,000 files and you hold down Shift and click on the first and the last. And the other way Joe explained is you just hold down Command or Control and you can click on individual files, and it won't highlight everything in between, but you'll just select 5 files in a folder of 200 files. And the last is just dragging across all the files until they all have blue color, meaning that they are selected. And just like Joe said, make sure that you are having a consistent drag and that you're not letting go midway through, or you're missing the correct files, this will cause some sort of discrepancies. So just make sure that you are, when you're dragging across files, that you've selected all the ones you want and everything is giving that like blue or gray color indicating that it is selected. But all of these are meant to do the same thing, which is take files that you have and tell the computer that this is what you want to move. Meaning, even though in your mind you're saying over and over again, I want to move this file to this folder, your computer can't read your mind. You have to indicate that to the computer by clicking on a file or selecting the file that this is what I want to move. This is what I want to do with this file or folder. Okay, if there's a question or two, this would be a great place to take that question, just because we are going to move on now from the organizing part of this lesson to the email section. So you could put it into the chat. That would be an easy way to do it, or you could just unmute. You should all be able to do that. Okay, someone sent me a chat message about making folders different colors. And this is something that you can't really make the folder itself a different color, but you could do something called tagging, TAGS, where by right-clicking, and I think this might be unique just to Apple computers, you'll see different little circles that have different colors. And by clicking on them, you're basically categorizing files or folders that you have with a certain color. So when you click on red, when you put all your schoolwork files and you tag them as red files, then when you're going through the Finder, when you click on red, you'll only see the files that you've highlighted with red. So it's basically another way of doing folders. I don't use this function. I think the easiest way is to manually create a folder, drag files into that folder. But this is something that if you want to explore or do some sort of color coding, there is that accessibility. And I'm sure there are tons of third-party applications that you could use as well. But I would say for the time being, especially for those of you that are just kind of getting started with this, try out folders and try to organize your desktop that way based on what we showed you today. But you're more than welcome to explore the color options as well. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is actually, I would say, very interesting material on 4 categories of things you could do via email. Now, some of these you might have heard of, and we're going to show you why even some of these, which you might not think are useful to you, they are in fact useful to you. Signature, vacation replies, snooze, and schedule an email. These are next level tips. Like I said at the beginning, we're assuming that you have that fundamental background in terms of sending and replying to an email. If not, you are more than welcome to enroll in our computer basics class, where we spend 2 full classes on email basics, on how to get started with email and how to compose and respond and do all those basics. We're now assuming you have a little bit of that fundamental background. You all have received my message today about the class, so you definitely know that part about it. And this is kind of the next step, the next level on how to manage your email. The first thing is called a signature. And Joe, I'm going to have you screen share your email so we could actually look at this in depth. But a signature is something that you will all learn about today, is something that you could add on to the end of your emails when you compose them, just like you would be signing off a physical signature when you are writing a letter in the mail, or when you write at the bottom of a letter, sincerely Jordan. Except on the email is a little bit different, and there is actually an extra use that Julia will explain, besides from just putting in your name. All right, Julia, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the Gmail platform, which we're going to show you how to get a signature on, but it's very similar on other email platforms. So in order to get your signature, you're going to click on that little gear settings button on the top of your screen. And once you do that, a bunch of different options are going to pop up. You're going to press the See All Settings button. in order to get the signature. And then you're going to have to scroll down a lot until you see the signature button. So if Joe just keeps on scrolling, eventually you're going to see a button that says signature. Okay. So once you see that, that little section, you want to create a new signature in order to add it to your emails. So you can see that there's a create new button, and then it tells you to name your signature. So you can put a name on your signature, whether it's personal signature, business, work, school. You can name it so that you can use different signatures depending on who you're emailing. So once you name it, you're going to press create. And that's going to then allow you to type in exactly what you want. So maybe at the end of all of your work emails, you wanted to say best Jordan Mittler, and then say your title at the company, so that every time you send an email from that work email, you don't need to type in that, and it will be already preset on the bottom of your email. You could see that here, Jordan has a bunch of different ones that he's already made. He has business signature, personal signature, school signature, so he can click between those three depending on the type of email that he's sending, and he doesn't need to type that same closing. It's already preset for him. So now if we go and try and type an email, we can compose one on the left by clicking on that little plus button. And you would type in the to and the subject, you would write your email. And then at the end, if you want to include your signature, you're going to click on the little pen icon on the bottom where it says insert signature. And if you click on that button, it will let you choose from all of the different pre-saved signatures you have. And you can click on the one that you want, and it will then paste it on the bottom of your email, so you don't need to type it in every single time.
Great. Just two things I want to mention. Number one, you need to make sure after you create the signature to scroll, Joe, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, to click on that button that says save changes. Anytime you make any sort of addition, signature, vacation reply, whatever it is, make sure you scroll all the way down to the bottom and click on save changes. That way that it will be impacted. So just keep that in mind. That applies not only the email, but almost everything, a document, a file. Make sure that you're always saving your materials. You don't want to lose anything. The other thing is this signature field could be used for anything. It doesn't need to be used for contact information, although typically that's what it is. Typically in a signature, you'll find someone's phone number, maybe their email, maybe their address, and it's just tagged along at the end of all their emails. But if there's a quote that you really like and you want to attach it at the bottom of all your emails, I've seen that done before. You can put anything that you want. You could say, if you would like to, for example, if I want to add this to my business, my Mittler Senior Track email, I could say, if you want to enroll in a full class, please click here. That's something that I could put at the bottom of all my emails. Basically, anything that could be relevant, you could put there. Any sort of text you're allowed to place there. Typically, and most commonly, you'll find signatures be contact information, which is kind of like you're signing off the email with additional ways to contact this person. But you're welcome to use any sort of text to use up the signature field. And as Julia showed you, by clicking on that pen, you could add the signature. But for maybe sometimes you don't want to use the signature. You're not required to put that signature in. You could always delete it. But it's always nice to have that saved inside that pen, so that anytime you want to use it, you could just go ahead and click on it in a very easy way to access the signature. And if for some of you, you're not interested in doing this, maybe you just want to put into the signature, thanks, Jordan, or best, Jordan. So this is something that you've finished all your emails with, just saves a little bit of time so that that's just there for you and not something you have to worry about separately. Okay, now the next thing we're going to look at, which is pretty much accessed the same way, is called the vacation reply. And although just like the name, it sounds like it's fully intended for when you go on a vacation, there are some other uses, and Sophia is going to explain how that works.
Yeah, so starting from we accessed the signature, we will locate the gear icon in the top right corner of your email. And then from here, we will select See All Settings. And then once we're in the settings of your email, we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. until we see vacation responder. Now, this is a tool that's helpful whether you're going on an actual vacation and you know you won't be on your email for a week, or maybe you're taking personal time away from the email, anything that's a prolonged amount of time where maybe expecting emails you don't necessarily want, or essentially you can insert the first day through the last day, whatever time span you know you would like for this vacation responder to automate. So in this case, we can just select dates for the first and the last. And then from here.
Sophia, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I'll talk slower to see if it clears up. But from here, essentially, you can this to where if anybody emails you during this time, this automatic response will go back to them to where it says maybe, hi, this is Jordan. I'm at the beach this week, but I'll be back on Thursday, or something of that matter, to where you yourself don't have to continually check your email. It's a nice way to sort of know that your email is automating this response. So here we're just typing in a message of the sort that you would want it to say. And of course, it doesn't have to be just for vacations. Like Jordan said, it can be really for any reason you would want automatic response sent to your contacts like this. Oh, sorry that it's cutting up again. Maybe I can turn it over to Jordan for it to be clearer to finish this up.
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. This is, I think we were able to get the gist of that. But I'll just explain a little further.
Okay, yeah.
The vacation responder is an excellent tool that is built into all emails. And I would say sometimes maybe you're celebrating a holiday, or you have your family over for the day and you don't want to deal with emails. But you want to make sure that the person sending you an email knows that you're not ignoring them, but you are occupied with something else and you're taking the time off, or maybe you work part-time and you only work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you don't want to receive emails on Tuesday and Thursday. You could play around with this tool to make it fit what your needs are. And like Sophia said, you could have a first day and a last day. The last day part is optional, meaning so you could have something go on forever. You're only allowed to set one vacation loop, but one vacation responder at a time, and make sure that if you don't select a last day, that you make sure to turn it off when you're done. Now, some people get worried when you have the vacation responder turned on, you are still going to get the emails and you'll still be able to give a more detailed response. Just for the time being, the person sending you the email will be notified that they are out of office, or they are doing this weekend, or they won't check their email till this day, or they're away. So they might, I might get back to you later than I usually do, meaning you will still be able to respond personally to the email. Just it's indicating the sender that you have, that you're not ignoring them, but that you are preoccupied with something else, and you will try to get back to them as soon as possible. Remember, again, make sure to click on Save Changes so that the changes are saved. Joe, you don't have to do that now, but make sure that, just like signature, you save the changes so that it's kept into the brain of your email and will be used every time you receive an email from a certain time. All right, now the third thing we're going to look at is called Snooze. This is similar to what snooze means in real life. When you wake up in the morning and you have your alarm clock and you're very tired and you don't want to wake up, what do? You click on the alarm clock and it's now snoozed. And in 5 minutes from then, your alarm clock will ring again. And I'm sure many of you have gone through this where we've had to wake up early and you've snoozed the alarm clock 10 times. This is a process where you could hold off on what you need to do, right? You're telling the alarm clock, wait a second. and it's reminding you about it at a later date. And this is similar to email. So I'm going to have Joe explain this now, which is when you receive an email, how you could snooze the email so that you'll be basically reminded of it at a certain date.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you snooze an email is you have to select one. So let's say I want to select this Google Photos email, or Jordan just sent me one. Let's say I click on that one and the subject, hello. Let's say I wanted to create, let's say I wanted to snooze this email. I have to click on the button that looks kind of like a clock on the top of the screen. And then I have a bunch of options. I can choose to snooze until later today, tomorrow, next week, next weekend, or I can just pick a date and time. Let's say, Jordan, let's say I want to get this email on Thursday at 10 a.m. Then I just type that in and I press save. Another option is to just well, I don't have that email anymore because I snoozed it. But if I click on a different email and I try and snooze another option, it does give me set options. And then once you already snooze something once, let's say you wanted to snooze two emails to the same time, you can just click on last so you get that email at a later date. And this is particularly useful if someone sends you a Zoom link for, let's say someone sent me a Zoom link for tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Let's say I want to snooze that, I can snooze that email until tomorrow at 11:29 a.m. So then I get this email right before that that Zoom starts.
Great. I hope you all appreciate this as much as I do, which is that it's very, very useful. You sometimes I know I get 45 emails a day, and some of them aren't always applicable right now. So if an email tells me, Jordan, you need to work on this assignment due tomorrow, and I'm busy now, let me snooze the email until 6 o'clock tonight where I know I'll be available and I want to remember that I have to do this assignment. It will be great if the email pops into my inbox just like it's a brand new email at that time. This is a very useful tool for many, many reasons. Like Joe said, you have a meeting at 11:30 and they sent you the Zoom link a week before. Well, it doesn't help me to know the Zoom link a week before the meeting. I want that Zoom link to come up on my screen a minute before so I could just click on it and it will take me to that Zoom. So I can think of 10 different plus ways that you could use this function. It's for you to play around with, but the gist of it is just like on an alarm clock, taking an email that was sent to you at a certain time and snoozing it or saving it for a later date where it is more convenient at that time for you to be receiving that email. Okay, now a similar topic is called scheduling an email. Now this is, as opposed to snoozing an email that you've received, this is scheduling an email that you would like to send. So if Joe clicks on the compose button, which is what you would click on to send any email, you'll see that you'll have the to subject and the body where you would put all the information regarding the email. Now, the process to schedule an email is identical to how you would send a regular email. We're doing the exact same procedure. The only difference is, as opposed to clicking on the blue send button at the bottom of the screen, you want to click on the little blue arrow, which is directly to the right of the send button. On some browsers, you might see, similar to Snooze, like a little clock, which does the same thing. On Gmail, it's that little arrow directly to the right of send. And if you click on that button, you'll see an option that says schedule send. And if I click on that, I'm going to get the same exact pop-up that Joe showed when discussing Snooze, which is a few set times: tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, Monday morning, at some times that people typically use. Or if you want a more specific time, you can click on pick date and time. Now, what this means is at the time that you select, whether it's tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. or some sort of date and time at a later date, that email will be sent at that time as if you're clicking on the send button exactly at that time. Now, how does this apply Let's say I need to send an email tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. in the morning because someone is overseas and I need to send an email at that time. But I do not want to wake up at 6 in the morning. I want to wake up at 9 in the morning. With this function, you could actually do that because you could set the email, you could write the email a week in advance and schedule it so that it is sent at 6 a.m. in the morning tomorrow on Monday. And I could be fast asleep, which is a very, very nice function. This is also helpful. I'm just thinking of ways where this could apply to you. If there's a very long email that you need to write, a very detailed email that you need to proof and check over, and it doesn't make sense to do it and send it right at that moment, but you want to do this in advance. You could compose the email far in advance and just schedule it so that it will be sent at a certain date. Now I'll show you. You'll see on the left side of my screen is actually a button that says scheduled, and it says 1. This means that I have one email scheduled to go out at a certain date. Now I could actually, if Joe clicks on that email, I can actually see the email that was being sent. And if need be, I could always cancel it before the send time. So if by accident I did something and sent it for some reason, you could always cancel the sent button. You could always cancel the email before the time that it is sent. And you'll see it will tell you tomorrow 1 p.m. That's when the email is expected to be sent. So this is a very useful tool. And I hope that between the 4 of these, signature, vacation responder, snooze, and schedule an email, that the way you use your email will just be enhanced a little bit more and make the process a little bit easier. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And in our last few minutes, I want to mention one more concept that I think could be beneficial for you. And once again, like I said at the beginning, this entire class is being recorded. We're going through a lot of material today, but I think it's all important. And we will be sending out the recording of today's class so that if you miss something or if there's a certain topic that you just want to go over the steps again, you will have that in your email inbox in a couple hours following the class. So you'll have that forever just in case you want to rewatch something. Now, many of you here today know what Google is. I'm hoping most of you know what Google is, where although it is most commonly known as a browser, or what's called a search engine for browsing the internet, there is an additional feature on Google that has been recently created that is becoming more and more popular, and that's called Google Workspace, which is composed of many different options of things you could do. But the important idea here is that Google, which we all use and we all love and we use every single day to get our questions answered, although that is a great form of its use, Google has developed this new side called the Google Workspace, which has some additional features that I think is worth for you to know. So I'm going to pass over to Caroline to explain what's called Google Drive and also the different file types of what you could use Google Drive for.
Okay, hi guys. So Google Drive is a free service from Google that allows you to store your files online and access them whenever or anywhere using the cloud. So it also gives you access to free web-based applications for creating documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and more. So Google Drive is basically an easier way to access your documents or the files that we showed you on your computer. So if you go to the next slide. So what are the advantages to using Google Drive? So it's one of the most popular cloud storage services available today. And if you've never used a cloud-based storage service before, you should consider the advantages to it, because keeping your files online, you can access them whenever you have service or Wi-Fi, instead of needing to go back to your computer to access your documents and files that are solely stored on your own computer and no one else's. So because the files can be accessed from any computer with internet connection, Drive eliminates the need to email or save a file to a USB drive. And because Drive allows you to share files, working with others becomes much easier. So like I just explained, whenever you're connected to Wi-Fi or you have any sort of internet connection, you can access your Google Drive and you don't need to bring your own computer everywhere. You can access it from other people's computers, and you can also like share with other people from your Google Drive, which makes it a lot easier to work and collaborate with other people. So the next slide. Okay, so within Google Drive, there are 5 type of things you can access. So the first is a document. So if you want to open a document on your Google Drive, it's basically for any sort of writing you want to do. You could compose letters, flyers, essays, and anything you're basically typing or writing, and it's very similar to Microsoft Word documents. The next one is a Google spreadsheet. So a spreadsheet is basically for organizing your information, and it looks exactly like a spreadsheet. So you'll have different columns and everything, and it's very easy to see your information in a very organized way. And this is similar to Microsoft Excel workbooks, which is on your computer. Then the next one is presentations. And this is for creating any sort of presentation, slideshow you have for work or for us, like we have for school. And it's just a fun way to put your information. And right now you're actually looking at a Google presentation. So all of our lessons that we make each week are Google presentations. This is similar to Microsoft PowerPoint presentations. Then a Google form is for you put your data in the form and then you can send it out to a bunch of people, and it's just for collecting and organizing your data and getting a bunch of responses from other people. Then Google Drawings is, like it explained, like it says, it's for any sort of like drawing on your computer, any sort of like graphic designs, or for creating simple vector graphics or diagrams. So that's a very easy way to do that on Google Drawings.
Great, thank you, Caroline. Let me just emphasize this idea of using Google Workspace, which is it's great to have your files on your computer, and that is what most of us do. Google Drive is this extra feature which is accessible online, where you can access files anywhere. So I happen to use both because for school purposes, I need to open up files in school and at home. I need to have them at both places, and having to send the files to myself to access them at each location is sometimes a little tricky. But with Google Drive, if you sign into your Google account, you'll be given access to all your files as if you're looking at your desktop at home. Now, I would say the biggest plus or the biggest pro to using this is about collaborative working. And Joe, if you go to the next slide, I'll show you what a Google Doc looks like. Where here's a document. It's called Annual Potluck Dinner, whatever it is. Here's the dinner. This is the document that I'm working on. And you'll see that I'm able to work on this document simultaneously with other people adding to that document. If you see at the top left of my screen, there's that cursor, right? Everyone knows what the cursor is. That's where if I type, that's where my text will appear. Now, also, I see a blue cursor over there, and I see a purple cursor over there. Now, if I look at the top of my screen, the purple cursor corresponds to whoever this person is, and the blue to this person. What this means is these two people have been given access to this file and therefore are able to edit it at the same time that you are. So think about how this works in group projects. Anytime we make a presentation for you, me, Julia, Caroline, Joe, and Sophia, we collaborate on the same presentation. We're working at the same time on the same document in our different houses, something that you really can't do on other platforms. So this is really, really great. And I emphasize this is an excellent tool for collaborating with other people online. And the way you do that is by signing in to your Google account online, and by going to the Google Drive, which is that little, it looks like a triangle as we showed you at the beginning. It's like a green, yellow, and blue triangle. that you can access on Google Drive. You could even just type into Google Drive. That's even a shortcut, and you'll access it that way as well. And you'll be able to create new file types, like Caroline explained, documents, presentations, Excel sheets. And by clicking on the little share button, which you'll find at the top right of the screen, you could share the file with whomever you would like, who then can access and edit the documents at the same time that you can. Now, I know we're touching this on at the end of the class, and the classes we're a little bit over today. Google Workspace could really on its own take up a full class, and I'll actually, if I do get some positive responses about today's class, I will create a class dedicated to Google Workspace. I think it's actually worthwhile. If you find that interesting, let me know. But this is a tool that I recommend based on the intro that we've given you today to explore a little bit. You could just go to Google, put in Google Workspace, put in Google Drive, Google Docs, put in any of that, and you'll get some information about it. You could feel free to email us with any questions. I know we're kind of just touching on this at the end. I will, depending on the response I get, I will definitely consider creating a full class on this at some point. Okay, Joe, let's skip over the rest of the stuff and let's go to upcoming. Okay, a few important announcements before we wrap up today's class. And I asked that everyone just stay in the Zoom for the next 2 minutes as we just finish up here. Today's class was recorded, like I've been saying. We will be sending out a link to this recording at some point this afternoon or tomorrow. Stay on the lookout for that. It will be the same way you've gotten information, either via email or WhatsApp. We'll make sure that gets to you at some point. Next classes, what's coming up for us? Our fourth class of the 2021-2022 cycle will be on January 9th at 11:30 a.m. And this will be covering wearable technology. So how to what is wearable technology? For some of you don't know what that is, how you use it. I'll give you a hint. I have it on my wrist right here. This will be a very informative seminar. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. And then the following month, February 6th at 11:30, we'll be covering a class on online banking and Venmo, how to use online platforms to do what you would do by walking into a physical bank. You'll hear more about these opportunities as we get closer. And we have tons of other classes for the rest of the year. Please stay on the lookout for emails from me, WhatsApp messages, browse our website. Everything is there for you. We try to stay as organized as possible. Okay, next slide. For those of you that enjoy today's class and the intention of offering these monthly classes that are kind of slightly, the topics are not related. If you want to take a full class with us, start from lesson 1. What is a computer and develop? What is internet, email, and really go step by step on how to learn all important concepts for you. You should all go to this site over here, portal.midlerseniortech.com. Write it down. This is the link. This is the one thing today that you should all write down and you should have it. We offer 2 classes there. They're both 10 lessons. We've gotten tons of positive feedback. This is the highlight of our program. If you haven't done this, you're really missing out, and you all should do it when you have the chance. These are self-guided classes. What does that mean? You could do them at any time that is convenient for you. Anytime that is convenient for you, you could take these. It's a recorded class with homework assignments, and it's basically like you're in the classroom. Both classes are amazing. For those of you that want the more beginners one, go ahead and you could use the basics, if not the advanced. It's $5 a class for the basics, which is a total of $50 for all 10 lessons. And for the advanced, it's $7.50 a class, or $75 for the entire 10 lessons. Now, an addition that I will add, we are going to have a promotion for the end of the year, going through January 1st, where our advanced class will match the price of the beginner's class at $5 a class. In order to use that promotion, you need to put in this code on the screen. I will send this to you along with the recording today, reduced 101 2020. I will make sure to send that to you along with the recording. You will, if you put that code in, your advanced payment will go from $75 to $50 to match the basics. So take advantage of this while this is being offered. You could pay online either via PayPal or credit or debit card. The process is very simple. For those of you that are having trouble and you want to meet with me on Zoom, or you want to have a phone call with me, or you need any help from any of us, please feel free to reach out. We are more than happy to help with any of this. Definitely reach out with any questions. Okay, now a very exciting announcement before we wrap up. Some of you are aware of this and actually participated in it. Some of you received messages about this. Tonight at 8 p.m., if you are at home, and I hope you all will be, you should turn on your television and go to CNN. There is an event called the 15th Annual CNN Heroes event, where they honor 10 heroes that have been changing the world and making an impact. Along with those 10 heroes, there are going to be two young individuals called Young Wonders that will be featured. There will be an interview, a video, and I recommend everyone turns that on as I will be honored as one of those Young Wonders tonight. So for those of you that are available, go ahead, turn on your television at 8 p.m. I'm not sure where in the program my segment will be, but there's a video that has all five of us being featured and interviews from some of the seniors themselves. Trust me, it's something you don't want to miss. It will be recorded, so I'll send it to all of you afterwards if you miss it. But definitely, if you have the opportunity, check it out tonight on CNN at 8 p.m. Okay, final slide. Thank you everyone so much for coming. As promised, here is the list of emails, links, and other accounts. Please check out our portal, and I expect to see 28 more people added to our that's how many people we have here, 28 more people added to our portal by the end of the day today. Please reach out with any questions and tune in tonight at 8 if you have the opportunity. Thank you, Julia, Caroline, Joe, and Sophia for an amazing class, and hope to see everyone again soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.